Hey, School Zone audience. Matt coming at you from sunny Stephenville, Texas. Beautiful, beautiful late summer afternoon. And I have none other than Wendy Tibus of the Movin Crew on. Wendy, you're in what, Michigan?
Yep, I'm in Michigan.
So how's the weather up there?
Well, we're having an Indian summer right now. It's like 80, 85 and muggy. It's unprecedented weather. We've never really been this hot in September, but things are going crazy with weather these days, so it's to be expected, I guess.
Awesome. Well, we've run across each other at trade shows and that type of thing over the years, and I'm excited to get a chance to chat with you and share, what you guys are about and kind of the beginnings of the Movin Crew and all that. So why don't you take us back? How the heck did you get involved in fundraising and that type of thing?
Yeah, okay, so I'm more than happy to do that. It's quite a story, and I think that, in life, you see your past, and you kind of go with your gut and see what you find what's best for you in your heart. And that's basically how this all got going, but just to give you a little bit of the background. So I was a stay-at-home mom. I was voted PTA president at one point, and at the same time, I was also a fundraising sales rep. I decided to dabble in the fundraising business a little bit for a junk food company. So during that experience, I realized that fundraising sales, especially in terms of junk food like cookie dough, pizza kits, things like that, was going downhill, and parents just weren't wanting to participate in it anymore. Therefore, the schools suffered as a result as well. As a PTA president, I realized that so many schools were doing fundraiser after fundraiser after fundraiser just to make the bottom line work. And I stumbled upon an idea called a fun run through searching for clients as a fun run sales rep. And so as a PTA president, I took this idea back to my school. We were no longer obligated to a contract with a candy and wrapping paper sale, so we decided we were going to try to break free from that. So I polled my parents and I said, okay, do we want to do candy and wrapping paper sales, a direct donation program, or this new thing I heard of Fun Run, and here's what it is. So basically the ballots went out. The overwhelming majority of people chose the Fun Run. We decided to start planning it right away for the following fall, and this was in the springtime. It took us a good, a meeting once a month over the summer to really plan it out and get it going. The end result was that it was $28,000 was raised in a matter of 2 weeks, the most the school had ever raised for a single fundraiser. It was pretty much all profit aside from the things we could not get donated. And between that experience, seeing the fundraising sales were going down the tubes, and then also the fact that childhood obesity was at an all-time high, we really needed to promote something on the healthier side for schools and fundraising. With all of that combined, I decided to take the opportunity to start a business and pioneer the fun run industry. So that's how it all got started, and I should say add the fun run to the fundraising industry. Back at the time, I had no idea that there was even anybody else in business with a fun run because websites were a luxury. So nobody really knew other fun run companies, because if you had a website, you were like, you were ZTE or something really big.
So how long ago? When was this?
2007, actually. On Valentine's Day of 2007, I applied for the business. So the idea was conceptualized in the fall of 2016, right after that fun run. And needless to say, I did get laid off from the company, the junk food company. They closed their doors, and I did get let go as a result of that. So I was at a fork in the road. And I could either, continue selling for another company or start my own, and I took a risk and started my own, and here we are 10 years later. It's kind of crazy.
That's awesome. Way, 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 way cool. So you started with your school that you were a PTA president in. How did it go from serving your school to becoming a company, and then, of course, a nationwide company serving schools all over the place?
Well, the original idea was, just to preface this, the company looks absolutely nothing like it did in the beginning. In 2007, the idea was that the Movin Crew, just like the name, would go to schools and get kids moving for their fundraising cause as a facilitate full-service fun runs by doing a fun kickoff assembly that was health and wellness based, talk to the kids about their fun run, what it was, and what great rewards and incentives they could get by participating and getting their donations in. So we would leave the school after that assembly, and by the way, we have a really fun mascot named Movin Max. He's a cheetah, and he was our guy, and he would come to the assemblies. The kids loved him. We wanted him to be our brand, and he was for the longest time. Anyhow, that being said, we would do the assembly, pass out the pledge packets, provide all the marketing materials to the schools that they needed to promote, and we would help them every step of the way. Thus, 2 to 3 weeks later, we would return for the actual fun run event, and we'd bring our big trailer with all of our equipment, our cones, our flags, our sound system, our tent, our mascot, and we would just have a great time with the kids all day long, working with the entire school in 40-minute intervals, teaching them how exercising for a cause is a good thing, and celebrating all the donations that they had brought in and how much the school had raised.
That's
so
awesome.
We were full service, and that's how the company started. I decided to try to go out to Chicago and Indiana and maybe branch off and get a couple of other crews going. Well, that turned out to be not as easy as I hoped it would be initially trying to franchise the company. What ended up happening is I noticed that people had this thing in their hand called a BlackBerry. And the BlackBerry changed everything. I noticed that this BlackBerry was probably going to, take on the world, and it did. Not anymore, actually. It's turned into the iPhone or Samsung, whatever device you have. But that being said, I knew when that BlackBerry came out that we really needed to think about technology and how we could make this easier for school, because really it's about getting the donations. It is about the event as well, and making kids, have healthy choices and promoting those things. But the bottom line is it's about the money, and the more money they can raise, the better. So knowing that eventually the internet was going to come to a handheld device, I started thinking about how I can get the donations online. And that's when we started making a transition to more of a software platform. And not to mention the fact that even though we were doing a great job with our fun runs, the bottom line again is schools want to make money, and if they can do it less expensive, they will. So they started cutting us out of the picture full service, basically duplicating what we were doing with their students and doing it on their own, a DIY fundraiser. So we were like, well, of course, they're smart moms. They know how to do it. It's not rocket science. So instead of resisting this, let's bring them a different type of service so that we can partner with them for their a-thon fundraiser. Now we can open it up to not just a fun run, but we can help a dance-a-thon, a spell-a-thon, a read-a-thon, a fun run, a walk-a-thon, jog-a-thon, a cash drive. It can be anything they want. So now we're going back to our roots, and we're just helping PTAs, PTOs, schools, administrators, whoever wants to have a fundraiser, have the proper tools and do it in a healthy fashion that they, in their atmosphere that they want to do it in.
So
that's
okay,
where we've gone.
So are most of the schools you're working with today just essentially with web and software support, or do you do a lot still of the fun runs that you guys host as well?
1 year ago right now, we stopped doing full service fun runs because we got so low on the number of clients that wanted to do them, and the fact that it was working harder, not smarter. And we could help more schools by focusing and concentrating on our software products than we could with the full service events.
So talk about the software product then, because and
Okay.
what it does, how it has the ability to be used by anybody who wants to host an event like you've listed.
Yep. Basically, a school just subscribes to our software platform and they get the service for a whole year, a school year, that is. So if they team up in the fall, they're going to get a login. And with that login, they can access an entire dashboard for their school event. With the school event, parents would register their students, just like if you or I were to go and do a Relay for Life or a breast cancer 3-day or anything like that. We would go to their website for the American Cancer Society. We would register ourselves. We would make a fundraising web page with our picture on it, and then we would share that web page with friends and family nationwide or worldwide on Facebook, social media sites, or email. That being said, we have the exact same technology for parents and their students who are children to be able to make a web page with their cute little pictures and share them with anybody in the, via email and social media. The pages average raising $100 to $125 each when they're shared, and schools make a lot of money because of the donations. It's crazy.
Wow.
Now, with the login, so parents control their web page. They're 100% secure. Associated with every web page is also a classroom web page and a school web page. So parents can see how their classrooms are doing. There can be, some competition among classrooms, friendly competition, or it can be downgraded. It doesn't downplayed. It doesn't have to be a competition, obviously. It's whatever the school wants it to be. And then the school page has the details about the event, updates for the event, like the schedule, what the rewards and incentives for students are. So if they get registered, maybe they get a prize. If they reach $25 in donations, maybe they get another prize. And so on and so on. So all of that information is listed on the school webpage as well as the student webpage. So everything kind of comes from the student webpage, and then all the donations and everything comes through the student webpage. So when mom and dad share, it goes to Facebook, let's say, and anybody that's on Facebook that's friends with mom and dad could and then click the donate button, and that's how it works. So it's basically a crowd fundraising program on the web that is niche to schools.
Now, do you have the ability for organizations other than schools to utilize the platform as well? I mean, could it be used that way, or is that even an option?
It is. Well, we have had other organizations who want to use our program, and some of them have, but we are so niche because our product was built for schools. There are plenty of schools out there. All of the staff that I hire is former PTA, PTO board members, so we are in tune with what schools need. We want to be niche to schools because that's where our passion is. We want to help schools raise money. We're in it for a little bit of the money, but we're not in it for a lot of the money. Our schools average keeping 95% of what they raise. We're about helping the schools and keeping our lights on.
So then how do you guys end up making money? Is it just a flat subscription, or is it a percentage, or how does that work?
It is both. We have a startup fee at the beginning of your season, but again, you can use the software platform for the entire school year. And you also have, we also do charge a percentage of the online donations. So the in-school donations, the cash and checks, are 100% profit for the school. And then we have the means for the donor to actually kick in a little bit and help the school with their fees. So in the end, when this formula all rations out, you're going to fall somewhere between keeping 92 and 98% of what's raised. It just depends on how everything comes out in the end.
So then how have you made the transition, because Get Movin Crew, and then even behind you there, it's your fun run experts. How does that translate to people so that they realize that, okay, this is what we once were 100%. Now we essentially support events like this, and many other types of a-thons. How does all that work?
Thanks, Matt. That's actually something that we're currently working on. We have been in the process of trying to rebrand, if you will, for the last 6 months, and continuing to try to figure out a good name for ourselves. We do have a Fun Run and a Thon in most of our marketing. Most all of this sign is original. It's like from 2007. But we did add a Fun Run and a Thon expert. We are, like I said, trying to come up with a great name that really encompasses what we do. And it'll always be the original Get Moving Crew, doing business as our new name once we get it. Pledge Headquarters is the name of our software platform that our clients log into. And right now we are toying with the idea of maybe naming, the company Keep Moving with Pledge Headquarters. So we keep the name similar, and we'll be, formally the Get Moving Crew. So that's where we're leaning right now. But we have core branding meetings, and we're just doing things that, make sense. And then I think in 2018, towards the end of 2018, we're going to fully launch a rebranding campaign.
That's exciting. What
yeah.
If a school says, man, that this is exactly what we need to allow us to do what we want to do more efficiently, what's the onboarding process? How do they, because as you know, a lot of these folks, they're just moms. They're not technology experts and all that. So how do you guys partner with them to help them do what they do better, if that makes sense?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of facets to our service. And I hope I'm answering your question effectively, but basically what we do is once you're teamed up with us, you have access to the software. The software not only gives you the ability to get your kids the students registered and start raising money, you also have access to an event toolbox, which is all your how-to guides, promotional documents, visuals, playlists, just all kinds of resources for you to use to plan your own event and facilitate it. And then also with that, you get a personal event coach, somebody from our staff who's a former PTA, PTO board member who has done this type of fundraising in the past and can help you with Q&As the whole way, teach you the software, understanding all of the tips and tricks that go along with it. Some of the features and benefits to the software that I haven't even pointed out are the fact that you can run any report that you want to and download those reports. You want to know how many students raised $100 or more, you just plug that information into the report system and it'll spit all the data out. You can download those reports if you want. You can see grade reports. You can see detailed date transaction reports. Any report that you really want to run is another part of our system. We have a t-shirt tracker so that when a student registers, the parent's going to select the size of the t-shirt, then they can run a report based on what size, how many mediums they need, how many larges they need, and so on. They can distribute those out to the teachers. Also, we have the incentive tracker, which literally enables you to plug in your incentives, what the amounts are. When a student reaches that amount, the reports will tell you that they've reached that, and then when you've distributed that incentive, if you put the date in, the report will reflect that you've already issued that. So there's so many things that are so niche to schools and what they need that, that's what's, that's just other great attributes to our system. The original question, ask me it one more time, because I don't know if I answered it.
It was just more about the onboarding process and how does somebody who's probably not super technologically savvy, partner with you guys. So, yeah, we have the personal event coach, number one. We have people of all kinds. Some people that are programmers and that use our product. And they're like, did you know you can do this and you can do this better, you can do this? And we have others that barely, they operate it off of a cell phone. So
the system is 100% mobile compliant no matter what user you are, whether you're a parent registering your child or a chairperson at a school. You can't operate it off a cell phone. However, I wouldn't advise it. I'd rather you went to the school and used the internet if you don't have a personal computer. But anybody can use it. It's not hard at all. And the personal event coach is in charge of helping you understand how it works and so on. I did want to say, though, in terms of getting things going, we have had schools that give us, a good 90 days before their event is kicking off. And then we have some schools that have literally teamed up with us the day of or the day before their kickoff. So in terms of getting somebody up and running and trained, we can do that quickly, but we do like to have a little bit of time to get everybody up to speed on the software and whatnot, if that was also part of the question.
Do you guys also have the ability to kind of coach people on, do's and don'ts as far as social media, as far as sharing, as far as, getting the word out to maximize?
We do. One of the things that we have right on our student fundraising webpage is a parent information card. And what that means is when it's a privacy disclaimer, and it's very easy to read, because we don't want a disclaimer or a terms and conditions that's, full of mumbo jumbo like most out there. We want it to be very clear and to the point so that parents have an easy read. And before they add their student to make a web page, they can read this information, and it gives them, some do's and don'ts as to how the system will work. All of the student fundraising pages are 100% secure. Nobody can Google a student, nobody can Google a school and find a web page. The only way that a parent can make that page public is by emailing people the link or sharing it via social media. So if a parent just wants to send it to, a controlled amount of people, like their sister, brother, grandmas, grandpas, anybody like that, they can just simply email it. Now, who's gotten the link, they know they trust these people, and that's how we coach our chair people to also talk to their parents about when they share. They can choose to not share. They can choose to share only via email and control the people that see it, or they can choose to go all out and go via social media. It's really up to the parent. But you know what? Honestly, in today's day and age, as much things that are going on with crazy, there's also a lot of people that, are taking advantage of, a great resource. So we don't really focus too much on the negative.
Awesome. What percentage would you guess is internal donations to the school versus web donations?
70-30. 70 on the web and 30% the old-fashioned way, cash and check.
Isn't it crazy how far technology has taken us in the last decade?
It is crazy good for us and for schools, because I've got so many success stories. If people go to the getmovincrew.com and they click on our testimonials page, they will be blown away at how many great success stories there are, because no longer are schools relying on their direct communities for support. Now by using our platform, you just broke down the barriers of your own community, and now you're getting donations from everywhere in the world. And some schools actually have challenges with geography, where the students there's challenges on getting a donation from at least every state and even other countries and stuff. So it's just awesome. Becomes another learning lesson that way as well. I would love to share some great school stories if I could.
Please do.
Okay, so my favorite is a school that we had that contacted us from Japan. And this is my favorite story, but there are so many like it. So first of all, let me tell you that we work with every kind of school there is. Title I, non-Title I, private, public, charter, Montessori, whatever you are, we will work with you, big or small. So we get contacted from a school in Japan, and it turns out to be a military-based school. Well, a military-based school, they're like their own little community. They can only do so much, right? And for a fundraiser, they had only raised a maximum of $2,500 ever, okay, in one fundraiser. And that was through like their auction and baskets that the classrooms had made, along with a poker night or something. I don't know what it was. It was a family fun event. That being said, we had when we got them, they were like, you know, we can't go with a $5,000 goal. We will never make $5,000. There's just no way. We've never done more than $2,500. So their personal event coach was, you know, I really think you need to set your goal at $5,000 or even $7,000. And they were hesitant, but they went ahead. Well, they had raised $5,000 in 48 hours.
Wow.
So she called them up and she said, "Can we go to 10,000?" They're like, "Well, okay, let's try 10." They reached 10 in like a matter of a week. This 250-person little school, and then the end result was $18,000. And they kept 95%. They are on cloud 9. So we have a school in Japan, even though they're a military school. But I love that story. We have most schools that decide to implement our program, if they've never had an online resource for getting their donations, we usually at least help them raise double or even triple what they raised in the past. We have a little school right here in northern Michigan, one of the first schools that we ever did with our online platform, and they're up north a little bit. The most they'd ever raised was $6,000. They've used us year after year after year, and last year they closed out at $28,000. They went from $6,000 to $28,000 over the span of 3 years, and every year they've grown. I think the first year they were at $17,000, the next year they were at $23,000, and last year they were at $28,000. So it also shows that schools, the first time they use us, there's a little bit of a learning curve, and parents, then the next year they get better and better, and our rebooking ratio is crazy good. It's 80% of our schools stay with us, and the referrals are just coming out of the woodwork. So it's awesome. We're loving it.
Wendy, this is cool. I'm glad we've had an opportunity to talk. You know, I intentionally don't go into a lot of detail in the companies that I'm interviewing beforehand, because it allows me to be curious. And if I've read up on them, then it's not as much so. So this is not at all what I expected, which is awesome. And I'm really excited about what you guys are doing, because I had talked to some other companies in the past in the kind of fun run space, but to find out that you guys aren't even in that space at all really anymore is cool. And I love the wide-ranging use that your platform provides for, and the fact that it allows schools to keep more and more of their own money that they're raising, instead of having an outside entity come in and take a large portion of that. So that's awesome. Very, very cool. If people want to reach out to you and either get more information about the program or set up with you guys in the platform, how do they do that?
Well, the best way is to take an online tour of our program, and that's basically seeing a demo system. And they can do that by going to our website. That's thegetmovincrew.com or funrunexperts.com, either one. And click the clock in the lower left corner of our website and schedule an online tour. A personal event coach will contact you within 24 hours and set up a time for you to see and hear everything about our system and how it works, along with our pricing. There's nothing that we don't show you. We keep nothing hidden. Everything is very transparent, and that's how we want it to be. We're just a bunch of moms here trying to help schools.
Anything else that you want to leave with the School Zone audience before we close out our conversation?
Well, we're having a record fall. We're raising millions of dollars for schools coast to coast. We just got Idaho on our demographics today, actually. So we're now in 38 states. and that's super exciting. So, and we're also going to be hiring, so it's really awesome because we're creating jobs too. Love it. It's awesome.
Wendy Tibus, thank you for your time. The Get Moving crew. Really, really great to talk to you, and love, love, love your program. Thanks for joining us in the school zone, and you have an awesome rest of the fall.
Thank you so much, Matt.